Hey there, book people! Welcome to Book Vlogging with Jan. I'm Jan! For the month of March, I am going to be talking to you about a few of my favorite debut novels. Now, I don't know about you, but at Book People, we kinda go a little crazy over new works. The anticipation of a fresh new voice, it's like a promise to the reader of unspoken ideas and vast unexplored lands of description and the infancy of relationships with new characters. It's so refreshing and exciting. I remember my debut. Happy 2014, book people! I'm Jan Day. I'm your average bookseller. In my natural habitat, I can be seen milling around Austin's favorite independent bookstore. You know the one. Welcome to my monthly vlog where I talk about and recommend books on a specific topic each month. I haven't done this before, so this is new for me and I've always wanted to try it. So young, so new, just trying to shout out loud while still trying to establish my own voice. Feels almost like it was 2 videos ago. That's how I'm introducing the book. No, debut me. I'm introducing the books. The Last Days of California isn't author Mary Miller's first book, but it is her first novel that hit our shelves in January. She also has a collection of short stories on our shelves as well. Told from the point of view of 15-year-old Jess in the last 3 days before the rapture, this is a novel of unfulfillment, or I usually describe it as never really getting there. Jess is initially concerned with all of the things her older sister Elise is that she is not. It's a family road trip, but the family spends next to no time together, and any time that the parents spend with the kids can in no way be called quality. And they're supposed to be handing out religious tracts to everyone they meet, but their stack never really seems to dwindle. The family, their mission, and themselves are just completely unfulfilled. In the midst of all of this unfulfillment, Jess is coming of age. She's discovering who she wants to be as an individual instead of as a member of a religion or a family. Mary Miller uses Jess's voice extremely effectively. She never has to describe the feelings of loneliness and claustrophobia, but she uses simple, concise sentences, usually starting with the word I, to convey the anxiety to the reader. It's all of the descriptions that you don't get, the voices you don't hear, and the things that don't happen that are just as important as the things that do happen. This was my first date with Mary Miller, and I give this 5 out of 5 book people. More Mary Miller, please. Can more Mary Miller be a thing? Can it be a hashtag? I really, really would like that if hashtag more Mary Miller. Let's make it a thing. The second greatest thing about a debut work is getting to see the beginnings of an already established voice. It's discovering the raw roots of the authors that you already love. And I will never not love Sylvia Plath. The Bell Jar seems like an obvious choice for this vlog if you know me at all. This is a terrifying and depressing look at a mental illness. You will either empathize with everything the character is going through, or you will wonder whether this is misery for the sake of misery. As one reviewer I read put it, it undermines the plot because the main character doesn't get better, which is a fine dismissal of mental illness and the tragic experience of the author in this semi-autobiographical tale. A young woman has a nervous breakdown after she spends a summer in a successful but ultimately meaningless internship in New York's fashion industry. For people with severe depression, there are no neatly packaged narratives. There are no clearly structured plots. The only evidence is experience, and this is an intensely personal look at a highly intelligent person's bout with mental illness. Sylvia Plath, this was not her first published work. It was her first published work of fiction. She was already a highly successful published poet before this novel was released, at a high personal cost to her. I highly recommend this important voice in mental well-being, and to ignore this book is a dismissal, which is unacceptable. I believe I just gave you a mandatory reading assignment. Go forth. In the same vein is another of my favorite authors, Margaret Atwood. Her debut novel, The Edible Woman, is a little bit harder to find, but it is in print, and it is worth it if you can find it and get your hands on it. Marion is a consumer. She consumes food and material goods, but she's also a consumer of ideas and emotions. She observes that her friend Carol appears to be consumed with her pregnancy, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and she anxiously awaits the return of her friend after the birth. Likewise, her roommate, independent and intelligent Ainsley, becomes consumed with the idea and obsession of the traditional two-parent family structure after she becomes pregnant, despite her previous convictions to raise the child as a single mother. And when Marion herself becomes engaged, she actually stops consuming things. It starts with food, and then it moves on to a dissociation of her individual identity. Her story continues in the third person until she can confront the two men she believes to be the culprits who are consuming her as an object. And it's only when she confronts them with a substitution that she can reclaim her first-person identity. This is a really excellent look at mental health and expected roles. Roles are severely limiting, and they don't take into account the complexity of individual identity. I give this one 5 out of 5 book people. This is an excellent and often overlooked title of Atwood's, and I highly recommend that you read these two together. I didn't intend for these 3 titles to be so similar, but I find it very interesting that the voices of these 3 fictional young women, 2 in the 1960s and 1 in 2014, to be so strikingly familiar to me. And ultimately, that's what we love about debut works. The finding of the promise of familiarity, that know you, that say, yes, you are here in these pages, you exist, you are real. And you look forward to refining your relationship with these new voices until they're old voices, until they're old friends. So come on in, find a new voice at Book People, Texas's largest and Austin's #1 independent bookstore. Thank you for watching.